Trouble Don't Last by Shelley Pearsall. For my family, who always believed. Keep your eye on the sun. See how she run? Don't let her catch you with your work undone. I'm a trouble. I'm a trouble. Trouble don't last always. Virginia Slave Song. Trouble, Chapter 1. Truth is, trouble follows me like a shadow. To begin with, I was born a slave, when other folks is born white. My mama was a slave and her mama a slave before that, so you can see we're nothing but a family of trouble. Master sold mama off before I was old enough to even remember her. And 2 old slaves named Harrison and Lily had to raise me up like I was one of their own, even though I wasn't. Then when I was in my 11th year, the old slave Harrison decided to jump into trouble himself, and he tried to run away. Problem was, I had to go with him. Broken Plate, Chapter 2. It all started on a just-so day in the month of September 1859, when I broke my master's plate while clearing the supper table. I tried to tell Lily that if Master Hackler hadn't taken a piece of bread and sopped pork fat all over his plate, I wouldn't have dropped it. But Lily kept her lips pressed tight together, saying nothing, as she scraped the vegetable scraps into the hog pails. And young Master Seth was sticking his foot this way and that way, trying to trip me up, I added. Lily didn't even look at me, just kept scraping and scraping with her big brown hands. Maybe it was a spirit. It could be old Master Hackler's dead spirit that got a hold of me right then and made that plate fly right out of my hands. Lily looked up and snorted, "Spirits! If old Master Hackler wanted to haunt this house, he'd go and turn a whole table on its end, not bother with one little china plate in your hands." She pointed her scraping knife at me. "You've got to be more careful, Samuel, or they gonna sell you offshore as anything, and I can't do nothing to help you then. You understand me, child?" "Yes'm," I answered, looking down at my feet. Every time Lily said something like this to me, which was more often than not, it always brought up the same picture in my head, a picture of my mama. She had been sold when I was hardly even old enough to stand on my 2 legs, right after old Master Hackler had died. Lily said that selling off my mama paid for his fancy carved headstone and old burying box, but I'm not sure all that's true. In my mind, I could see my mama being taken away in the back of Master's wagon, just like Lily told me. Her name was Hannah, and she was a tall, straight-backed woman with gingerbread skin like mine. Lily said she was wearing a blue striped head wrap tied around her hair. She was leaning over her head with her head down in her hands when they drove off. The only thing Lily knew was that they took her to the courthouse in Washington, Kentucky, to sell her off. After my mama had gone, it had fallen on Lily's shoulders to raise me as if I were one of her own, even though she wasn't any relation of mine, and she had already had 2 sons and 4 daughters, all sold off or dead. But she said I had more trouble in me than all 6 of her children rolled up together. "I got to be on your heels all day and night," she was always telling me, "and even that won't keep bad things from happening." When she was finished with the hog pails, Lily came over to me. "How's that chin doing?" She lifted the cold rag I'd been holding and looking underneath. Miss Catherine got good aim, I'll give her that. After I'd broken the china plate, Master Hackler's loud red-headed wife, Miss Catherine, had flung her table fork right at me. "You aren't worth a piece of broken plate. You know that," she hollered, and sent one of the silver forks flying. Good thing I had the good sense not to duck my head, so it hit right straight where she was aiming, squaring my chin. Even though it stung all the way up to my ears, I didn't make a face. I was half proud of myself for that. "You pick up every little piece," Miss Catherine had snapped, pointing at the floor. "Every single piece with those worthless black fingers of yours, and I'll decide what to do about your carelessness." After that, Lily came barreling in to save me. She had helped me sweep up the white shards that had flown all over, and she told Miss Catherine she would pay for the plate. Master usually gave Lily $1 to keep every Christmas. What you think that plate is cost? Lily asked Miss Catherine as she swept. Well, how much do you have? Miss Catherine sniffed. Maybe $4 saved up? Then I imagine it costs $4. So, the red-headed devil, Miss Catherine, had taken most of Lily's savings just for my broken plate. Although, truth was, Lily had $6 tucked away, and she had given me a banged-up chin. But as Lily always said, it could have been worse. Then we heard Master Hackler's heavy footsteps coming down the hall. He walks hard on his heels, so you can tell him from the others. You be quiet as a country graveyard, Lily warned, and give me that cloth. Quick as anything, she snatched the cloth from my chin and began wiping a plate with it. Still cleaning up from supper? Master Hackler said, peering around the doorway. Samuel's made you mighty slow this evening, Lily. Yes, he sure has. Lily kept her head down, wiping the plates in fast circles. But I always get everything done, you know. Don't sleep a wink till everything gets done. What should we do about the boy's carelessness, Lily? He asked in a loud, hard voice. I could feel my throat tighten, as if a big snake had wrapped itself around it. Samuel's nothing but a child, Lily answered, calm and even-voiced, as always, still learning how to keep hold of himself. Catherine thinks he ought to be punished, so he's more careful next time. A few stripes of cowhide would make a difference, she says. The snake squeezed tighter. I dug my fingers into my palms. I always get after him for his carelessness, Master Hackler, you know I does. Lily continued, laying on her sweet tone, smooth as jam on a slice of bread. I'm going to take away his supper tonight. I got a good bean soup and a peach pie made, and I ain't giving him even a bite. Going hungry, that's what he gets, boy his age. Master walked to the corner of the kitchen where I slept. Going cold ought to get him, too. I could hear him snatch my 2 blankets. I'll take these for tonight, maybe tomorrow night. You see to it, Lily, that he doesn't curl up on those hearthstones to keep warm. Yes, sir, I will. You can be sure I will. Master's big shadow stood over me. You're as weak as a chicken-hearted girl, he spat. Got to have some old slave woman stand up for you and fight for you. And then his heels pounded away and took that snake around my throat with him. Once Master Hackler was out of earshot, Lily said sharply, Get up and open that kitchen door, Samuel. She hefted up a tub of old dishwater and carried it outside. While I stood there, Lily flung the water as hard as she could into Master's yard. It spattered like angry rain all over the steps, the yard, and the few scraggly plants in the kitchen garden. You mad at Master Hackler? I asked, for what he said. Lily turned and glared at me with eyes that changed to smoldering coals in her dark face. No, but I sure is mad at you. You always go and bring me troubles I don't need. She slammed the tin tub down. I'm old, and I've seen enough hard times in my life. Now you go on, take them hog scraps to Harrison in the barn, 'cause I don't even want to look at you any more this evening. I could feel the hot tears coming to my eyes. Lily said folks were only allowed to cry if people were near dying or dead, so I kept her from seeing my eyes fill up faster than a pump at a trough. Keeping my head down, I grabbed the hog pails from the kitchen, but Lily's hand latched onto my arm as I hurried through the door. I thought she was going to give me another talking to. Instead, she said in a real low voice, You ask Harrison for something to eat, you hear me? I promised Master Hackler I wouldn't give you no food, but I didn't promise him no one else would. She gave me a little push. Now, get out of my sight!